Welcome to Insight Builder channel, large language model automators, Python experts, and my dear friends. AI Symphony, harnessing power of 12 LLMs in single Streamlit app. Why, first of all, do this? When we are having a lot of LLMs in the market right now, there should be a way where we can compare the outputs in a seamless fashion. So one of the ways is to have a Streamlit app that can change the LLMs and then access the outputs from these LLMs. We can experiment with the different prompts along with modifying the LLMs. That is the second reason. We can share the app with the team and various other enthusiasts like us. Keep a backup of the extracted text data. In Streamlit, it's very easy to download the extracted text data. And finally, you can learn Streamlit and you can extend the app. So all these things and a lot more we will be seeing in this discussion. So for doing this, you need a couple of things. First, you will be requiring the OpenAI API key because ChatGPT is one of the biggest and the best LLM available in the market. However, we have Anyscale, which has made the serving of LLM outputs very, very simple. These are the two things. OpenAI API key, I'm not going to discuss how to get at it, but Anyscale, I'll be looking at how to do it. And we need to do a pip installation of Streamlit as well as OpenAI. We'll be doing all the testing on one of the Raspberry Pi setup that I have got. You can do it on any of the machines that you have, but I'll be using Raspberry Pi. And this is the Raspberry Pi SSH that I'm already having. And I have a couple of documents here. I have this mydata rev04.json. This file contains the data for that is going to be used inside the Streamlit app. And then explore_llm.py. This is the Streamlit app that we'll be using. When I'm going to just demo this particular app right now in the browser and you can see how this works. So let us do Streamlit run and explore_llm.py. Once I execute this particular command, the Streamlit app will start. It will take a couple of seconds because this is Raspberry Pi, as I already told you. This Raspberry Pi is connected in my local LAN. So you see that this particular IP address has been provided. This is connected in my local LAN. And once I click on this IP, I'll be able to get the access to the app. So the app is running in this particular IP address on this particular port. It is by default assigned to these ports. So that is how it works. And initially it is saying that the JSON file is not available. So there is no file available. So for that file, we are going to use this particular file data. So I'm going to take this file name, go back, and I'm going to paste it here. So ensure that the file is in the same place where the app is, or else you will not be able to, the file will not be able to be located and it will not work. So once I give the file name, you'll see the entire app works. And here you can see, I will zoom in a bit so that you guys can see it better. Here we can see these are the various LLMs that is available. So how did I get these LLMs? How did I get these names? I'll be showing it to you in a couple of minutes. Before that, let us start working on the looking at the data as well as working on how to work with the prompts, right? So let us look at the data first. So there are 1,000 data points here. Yeah, all these data points are various Python library, their dependencies and also the forks, the stars, and various details about the Python libraries. You can just explore it. You can just move around with this scroll bar. I'll be explaining a bit about what has been placed into the Streamlit app. You can see the details here. The prompt that we are going to use is to analyze the data that is present. So analyze, or we can say summarize the below JSON data into 30-word para, excuse me, include the purpose, the forks, and the number of stars earned. So this is very similar to what you have seen in the regular prompting the LLMs, right? This is a very simple prompt that we have, single line prompt that we have given. I'm just giving it as an example. So you can actually have any kind of data here, and you can have any amount of detailed summary or the prompt here. No restrictions as such, because the app has been created by you. And here, once you do that, once you enter this and press enter, you will see that this particular prompt gets updated and the model is ready. So you can select any of these models. Initially, I'm going to select OpenAI GPT 3.5 and I'm going to submit. The moment I submit, you see the app is running, meaning that the app is connecting to the OpenAI API and it is trying to pull the data. So it is saying that this is the summary. It is PyOpen SSL is Python wrapper. It has 383 forks and 737 stars. It is used by 188 dependents. Right? If you look at it, so it is talking about this particular library. So if you change it, and if you change this particular slider, you will see that the library also changes, and correspondingly all the details also changes. The prompt is going to be same, but this time what we are going to do is we are going to use a different LLM altogether. So here you see it's Meta Llama, and there are all the three varieties, 7, 13 and 70 billion llama available. You have Mistral also, you have BAI, BG large, you have Llama God 7 billion, Code Llama. Out of these LLMs, couple of LLMs have some kind of error that pops up. So keep that in mind. I'm going to submit it. Now, this kind of modification just takes a click. And the how this is happening, the magic of connecting between OpenAI and the open source LLM looks very simple, right? This is made possible because of Anyscale. So you see that first of all, it is giving me an output telling that it cannot write as JSON. I'll be telling you why it is coming. And here is the 30-word summary. So this is a summary that is given by this guy, Meta Llama 7 billion. But let us see what 70 billion does. Okay, let us see whether there is any change. So you see how easy it is to check your single prompt with multiple models, and you can immediately see that the 70 billion exactly listens to what you said. It's not giving additional information. It's not chit chatting. It's directly giving the information that you require. It's very similar to this guy, the OpenAI, right? You can try with Mistral 8x7 billion and Mistral 7 billion instruct also. Okay, the idea here is it is a very simple demo, and you can actually click on get file, and once you get file, what will happen is this file, the output, the prompt, and this particular data, the data that we are trying to work with, all of the things will get coupled together and you can download it as a text file. So that is also possible. This is a brief introduction about the app as such. You can extend this app, but before you can extend the app, you need to understand some background about what has actually gone in. So for that, we will be going to Anyscale. So Anyscale is a platform which is rapidly growing, and it has got a lot of technological breakthroughs under its hood. Among them, Wrangler is one of the open source libraries that is powering their LLMs. Will be discussing about the Wrangler separately because it becomes very important now in the current scenario that we can able to serve our own LLMs easily. So Wrangler is going to be one of the quintessential library. Apart from that, Wrangler also supports distributed computing. So there are lots of stuff there. Our intention in this discussion is to discuss about the Anyscale endpoints. Once you click on get started, it actually shows you the various kinds of endpoints that you can work with. So you can say the regular uh, endpoints without any kinds of uh, serverless. You can say pay as you go and easy upgrade. And there is Anyscale platform, which is fully managed, and we can get started with free trial. So you can use the free trial, and once you click it, you will ask all this information. Once you finish that off, then what will happen is you will be given access to this particular uh, base dashboard. So once you are in this particular base dashboard, you have to click on the credentials. I'm not going to click on the credentials right now. So you can click on it, and once you click on it, you will be given an option to create the API key. So take the API key and we will use that in our code. So I'm not going to click here. You can use it later. You can also explore the other options. You can right now see how simple the interface is. One thing that I liked about Anyscale, it's how fast you can do things. Among them, the best thing is that Anyscale gives us $10 free credit, and if you look at the cost, you can go and look at the docs, and if you look at the cost of the pricing, cost of the models, it's way low. So for a million token, if you are going to work with any of these open source models, it's going to take a long time before you exhaust your $10 free credit. So go ahead, start making apps and extend the Streamlit app that I'm discussing about, and start working with all the models for your hard content. Next thing is that you can look at the fine-tuning builds also. So you can take a look at it, but you don't need to look at the fine-tuning right now. There are lots of examples available. One great thing about Anyscale is that you can simply work with OpenAI library itself. So let me show you. What happens is that you need to have the OpenAI base URL. So this is the base URL that you are going to modify, and we need to have the OpenAI API key. So both of these things, right? This e-secret key is the key that you get from the Anyscale credentials. So that is what you are going to update here. And this endpoint by default gets updated internally. I will show you how. And if you come here, you will see that just a second. Yeah, you can use OpenAI Python SDK. You can give the base URL and you can give the API key. And you are going to use the OpenAI Python SDK, OpenAI.OpenAI itself to create the client. That is the beauty of it. And once you go into the chat completions, you are going to select the model, which you will also do in case of OpenAI models. But here you are going to do it with respect to these models that is already available. Okay. Now I have given you a brief introduction about how these works, and you can wrap this inside a function. I'll be showing you how to do that, and then you can start playing with the model. I'm not going to discuss about the embedding models. You can take a look at that. There are a lot of other details that is available here, as I am trying to introduce with a different objective. So my objective here is to show you that you can do a simple Streamlit app and you can start working with various models because of the power that is given by Anyscale, right? Let's go back to the discussion. So we have seen right now that what is required. We have seen how to start the Streamlit app, and we have looked at the demo of the app also. We have seen all these things. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this particular server, and I'm going to tell you one important point. The important point is that you need to have the file that you see here, explore_llm.py, inside a particular folder. Do not run it on the home folder. If you run it on home folder, you will get some error. So this is the error that you will be looking at. And second thing is that you have to place the .env file. So if I do an LSA, you will see that there is a .env file here. By default, that is hidden, and inside this .env file, you need to put the API keys, that is the OpenAI API key as well as the Anyscale API key. After that, we will be using that in the Explore LLM. So now I'm going to open Explore LLM and I'm going to show you how the app is written. This is a basic introduction of the app, and I am importing various libraries that is required. You can see that I'm importing OpenAI, I'm importing .env, and also I'm importing Streamlit. So before I proceed further, you have to do a pip installation of Streamlit. So once you do this, then Streamlit will get installed and its dependencies also will get installed. Not a lot of dependencies are there. Once that is done, then you will be able to execute the Streamlit application. Here I'm going to just do a code walkthrough right now, a brief code walkthrough. You can see that I am loading the .env file using load_.env function from .env library, and then I am assigning the API keys using the os.environ. Ensure that you are changing the name here. It should be OpenAI API key for OpenAI API key and Anyscale. Don't attach API key here. It gets confused. So use only Anyscale, it will work. And once you have done that, then you can check whether it is able to get the API keys properly. Here, we are declaring the OpenAI client. This particular file that you are looking at will be shared to you via GitHub, and the link will be shared in the description below, so you don't need to worry about it. And most importantly, I have commented it out generously. So most of the lines that I have written here will have a comment attached with it. Here, this line is declaring the OpenAI client. This couple of lines declare the Anyscale client. And as I already showed you that the Anyscale endpoints base URL has been updated, and the Anyscale key that I had pulled from the os.environ also is updated here. Moving forward, the custom text message, this function is going to take the message as well as the prompt. Also, you can see the doc strings. Strings are pretty helpful to understand what is going on. So this function is connecting with the OpenAI chat completion endpoint, and the message and the prompt that we are going to provide will be positioned inside as the system as well as the user messages. So you can see that here. And once you are going to do that, the OpenAI's chat GPT 3.5 or 4 model. So in this case, GPT 3.5 turbo model will respond. You can change the model also if it is required. But I'll be using GPT 3.5 turbo. It's cheaper. Next, we are going to work with Anyscale text. In case of this particular function, the Anyscale client.chat completions are used, and the model is going to be different. So we are going to work with 11 different models, right? So here is where we are going to change the model. I'll be showing you how this works in a couple of minutes. And then we have the messages. It's very similar to what we did in OpenAI function above. And then we are getting the response back. So that is the function, basic function that we start with. And we are starting the Streamlit app. So this is where the Streamlit app heading starts. You can go back here and take a look at the Streamlit app here. Since I stopped the application, so you see that error is coming, but still all the information is still there. You can see the heading, view and parse message LLMs. So that is coming from this particular write that I have done. This is a markdown symbol where if I use the hash, it becomes a heading. And then what we are going to do is we are asking for the input text file. So we are giving the text input as the file path, and then you can check whether the file path is getting recognized. And we are checking whether the file is a JSON. Why we are checking the file is a JSON? Because internally I have coded in such a way that the JSON file with multiple JSON data points are only read. If you give a CSV file, if you give a text file, then this particular code will not work. It has to be a JSON document with multiple JSON dictionaries as a array inside, or else it will not work. So let me show you the file output in a couple of seconds after this discussion. And after that, you see that if the file is a JSON, then it will proceed. And if the file is not a JSON, it will say provide a valid JSON file. So that's how the output will look. And moving forward, I am opening the file that was provided, encoded as UTF-8, and then the file object that it returns is loaded using the JSON library here. Once I load it, you will be getting a list of JSON objects inside the message underscore list variable. So that's how it works. And then I use the length function to get the number of message data points, JSON data points, sorry. After that, I'm creating a slider here, st.slider, which provides the slider that you look at here, this particular slider. And then this slider is going to tell me which index. So there are lists of some 1000 data points. The slider will tell which index message I am going to take and I'm going to work. So that is what it's going to say. I am not showing the data point directly right now, but I'll be showing it in a couple of minutes. And once that index has been selected, the raw message gets populated under the raw message variable. Once the raw message is populated, then I write the raw message so everybody can see that, okay, this is the raw message. So this is very important. Showing the data point is very, very important. After that, the prompt that we are going to provide, the prompt that you have provided here, this particular prompt, this prompt also is taken from the user. Finally, we are going to declare the model that is available as list. So this is where the fun starts. So what happens is there are almost, as I told you, one OpenAI model and 11 different open source models. All these things are converted into a list, and then I am going to create a simple radio radio choice options inside the Streamlit app. Once I do that, I can do the next step, where once I click on the submit button, so in case of Streamlit, there is something called as st.button object. Once I click on submit, the button will send a true output. And once a true output is received, the next step starts. So here in this particular line, the model that has been selected using this radio button, this particular radio object, st.radio, if it is equal to OpenAI model, then the OpenAI endpoint will be called. So you see the custom text. So this is OpenAI endpoint. Or else it will call one of the open source models from Anyscale. And when we are going to call the open source model with Anyscale, we have to provide the model also. So this model has been selected here, right, using the radio buttons. Once that is done, the output will be sent back by the endpoints, and then we will be parsing the output. So this is where the JSON.loads parse output happens. Sometimes if you want to request for JSON output in your prompt, it can be parsed as a JSON output also. And if not, then it can simply write it as text. And finally, you can use the st.download button to download the data. So the dictionary has been created. Important point is the dictionary has to be converted to string, and then you need to provide text/plain. If you don't provide text/plain, and if you try to provide some other MIME, then there could be some error that can occur because of the serialization and deserialization issue with the Python object. Some error can occur, but if you convert it to text, then it should not be a problem. It will get written to a file, and you can save it to your local drive. Now that I have shown you the entire walkthrough, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the data. So most important thing is you have to look at the data. So the data is like huge, and here this is the one data point. You see this particular step. This is one data point. It starts with the name, the dependent reports, etc., and it ends with the repository URL. Similarly, you can see that there is another one data here. So name is Azure CLI, and you can see that another one data point is here. When you are looking at the entire data like this, it can be overwhelming, right? So you can see there is another one data point here. So here, these are all various dictionaries or JSONs as a list. So you can see that there is a closing square bracket like this. If you go up, there will be an open square bracket also, where the entire data has been encapsulated. So this is how the data looks. and based on this data only, the entire app works. And with this particular introduction, I believe that you have got some good clarity on what you can do when multiple LLMs are available for our use, and how you can efficiently use it by using the Streamlit app and share it with others. And most importantly, try to extend this app, because Streamlit is like way more easier to play with, and you can do a lot more stuff. The front end and the back end has been completely automated for you. You don't need to use ChatGPT to create a front end and back end. I have been seeing a lot of videos where the ChatGPT is used to create the front end and back end, but when you have libraries like Streamlit, you can bypass that entire process altogether. And moreover, Streamlit also has a community server where you can host your own apps there for everybody's to use. So there are lots of benefits like this. So with that said, I would like to leave this particular video with 4 words. That is practice, 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 practice. See you guys. Have a great time.